Hello everyone, this is Phil from Yoda's Workshop. Welcome to a brand new episode of The Vintage Kids. Alors bonsoir et bienvenue à un nouvel épisode de The Vintage Kids. Et vous savez-vous quoi dessus? Ben oui, on a une bonne nouvelle là, hein? Mais je sais pas si ça paraît là, mais j'ai une nouvelle webcam là. I have a brand new webcam. The zoom should be good. Look, 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 look. Ooh. So I did some tests and they actually follow my face. I paid $200 for it, but hey, looks like it's working. It's working. Alors bonsoir tout le monde qui est là. Jim Arsenault, Derek Cernak, Sylvie. This week I have no idea how much we're going to be. It's a beauty. It is. And I know you're not talking about me, Kirkwood, but I totally understand that you don't. Okay, this week was rough. I got a big, so I hope I'm not gonna choke to death, but I'm getting better. So yeah, full of energy because today I took it really easy. I wanted to be all good for tonight. Thanks, Jim. You're too. But don't tell my wife that I said that. And don't tell Kirk. Okay. So, yeah, big show today. It was obvious. Un gros show ce soir, c'était évident. When I ended up finding this information on the web, I said to myself, this is amazing information. This is amazing stuff. I really need to make an episode of the Vintage Kid talking about that subject. C'était évident pour moi quand je suis tombé sur cette information-là. J'ai dit, c'est sûr, je fais un Vintage Kids là-dessus. Je pense que c'est de l'information qui est vraiment intéressante pour nous autres qui est freak de Star Wars puis qui ont collectionné jusqu'au Last 17. I really think that for those who are freaking out on Star Wars that actually collected all the way through Last 17s, now we can actually have a glimpse of what was supposed to be the next Star Wars toys with Kenner. So it would have been kind of the last wave. But anyway, I've got tons of images for you guys. It's actually a video that I found by just like that on YouTube, and it's from Analog Toys. Got a great channel there. Tons of videos talking about all the vintage and more recent toy lines. Donc c'est un vidéo de Analog Toys. Donc c'est pas, j'ai rien inventé. I didn't invent anything. I got some screenshots. I've got some pictures that I managed to have. I kind of acquired. So I tip up my hat to them. And I want to talk about this because I think it's really, really interesting. Donc, j'ai rien inventé là-dedans. Ce n'est que des screenshots que j'ai pris, que je vais vous montrer. Mais je trouve ça vraiment cool que on puisse voir ce que Star Wars aurait pu devenir au niveau des jouets après Power of the Force. So it's kind of a Power of the Force Part 2. But this is not how it was supposed to be called. It was supposed to be called the Epic Continue. Continues or Continue. Donc, c'était pas supposé être Power of the Force 2, mais c'était supposé s'appeler l'Epic Continue. Ouh là là. So, I'm going to try something today. I'm going to show you guys pictures. I just want to fix this. I'm trying something new. I'm going to show you guys pictures, and you should not see me. You should only hear my voice. And I want to make a test right away so you'll be able to tell me if this thing works. So I'm going to show you a picture right now of the first thing I want to show you about this Epic Continue new toy line. And let me know if you still hear my voice. Let's do this. Can you hear me? Please let me know if you still hear my voice. If you do, if the voice is okay, the sound is good, just let me know. I'm still there, but I'm in the background. Because when I actually put my face into this, usually the sound is not as good. The microphone goes, "Can hear you." Yes, good. All right, so let's do this. Because I can actually be like this. I'm down here, but usually the sound is not as good. So let's try it like this. Let's try it with me down here. Hi, I'm in my little box. If the sound goes weak or starts to let me know, because I'm using StreamYards, as you guys know, and it's not always perfect, even if I pay for it. OK. Alors, c'est parti. Sound is good for now. Good. Perfect. I count on you guys to let me know if something goes wrong. Okay, so let's watch this thing. So, this is actually the first. I think I made a mistake on the first picture. This is not the first one. That's the first one I wanted to show you. So, here you go. So, this is actually some of the pictures from the toy line that it was supposed to be produced. Like I said, it was called the Epic Continue. And the way it actually worked is that the Kenner team still had this contract with Lucasfilm for producing Star Wars toys, even after the Last 17 that was not called Last 17. It was a Power of the Force with the coins. So during the time that the coins and the Power of the Force were actually in store, the people from Kenner just didn't went to Africa or somewhere to swim in the ocean. They worked. Donc, pendant que les Last 17, qui s'appelait Power of the Force, parce qu'on s'entend que ça s'appelait pas les derniers 17 à l'époque, était en vente en magasin, eh bien, l'équipe de Kenner avait encore un contrat avec Lucasfilm et avait le travail, devait continuer à produire des jouets. Donc, ils ont utilisé l'idée qu'ils ont eue et qu'ils ont un peu rendu... ils se sont permis des choses, on va dire comme ça, lorsque c'était Empire Strikes Back, en créant les mini-rigs. Let me tell you this in English. They actually did the same thing that they did when they created the mini-rigs back in the Empire Strikes Back line. Meaning that the team at Kenner actually started to create their own universe. They actually created new toys that were not in the movies. And Lucas said, yeah, okay, that looks good. And some were accepted, others weren't. But that's what brought us the mini rigs. Same thing. I'm not sure about the Droid Factory. Probably Kirk would be able to tell me that, but our friend Kirk Keck. But I'm not sure if the mini rigs, not the mini rigs, but the Droid Factory is a kind of the same thing that they did with the mini rigs in the time of A New Hope. Anyway. So they decided to create a kind of expanded universe of Star Wars. What would actually happen after Return of the Jedi? So this was not based on any books that was written back in the days in the Legends time that now we actually know as Legend. It was not based on any books. It was really the Kenner team that came up with ideas. So let me help you go through those ideas with sketches. There's actually great prototypes, and they literally created a complete toy line based on this new expanded universe that the Kenner teams created. And of course, all those toys never made it to the stores because we know that the sales for the Power of the Force was not very good, so they decided to stop. And that's the last time. This is when we actually consider that the vintage Star Wars Kenner toy line stuff. But that would have been one of probably the last wave. Okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna go through several pictures, and I'm gonna tell you who those characters are in this new expanded thing that they created back in 1986. It was supposed to come out in 1986. Next picture is actually those two guys. Okay, so those two guys, this is actually the guy with the red robe is actually the new villain of this expanded stories, of this epic continue. This is actually the guy is called Atha Prime, not Optimus Prime, but Atha, A-T-H-A, Atha Prime. And this guy actually would have come from the Dark Worlds, somewhere probably like in the far region, like not necessarily from another universe, just like we saw in Ahsoka, but they would have actually come from the Dark World, because in another picture you're going to see there were actually a synopsis of this guy written by the Kenner team, so Lucasfilm can actually understand who this guy was. And next to him is kind of his new stormtroopers. They are actually called Shock Troop Warriors. So these guys are literally, they actually look like stormtroopers, but they're kind of different. None of these figures were created as prototype, only as drawings. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys other stuff in the next pictures. So the whole story would have been based on this new villain. So he's named Atha Prime. He would have actually showed up after the Palpatine, the Emperor, would be gone. So he would feel safe to try to take over this galaxy. Yeah, okay. So that's it. So he comes with his army and this, like I said, it's Shock Troop Warriors figures things. Hello, prototype friends. Yes, you're totally right. Ian, I think you're going to love this episode, man. There's so much. I've watched that video. I freaked out. I loved the information so much. I said, I've got to do it in Vintage Kids. Donc, in French. Les deux personnages que vous voyez à l'écran, lui à gauche avec l'espèce de robe rouge, c'est le personnage, le nouveau villain, le nouveau méchant qu'il y aurait eu dans l'histoire, et il s'appelle Atha Prime. Il vient du monde noir de l'univers de Star Wars, et il serait venu prendre la place, une fois qu'il aurait entendu que l'empereur était mort, il viendrait prendre la place de l'empereur. Et genre, pas prendre l'Empire, parce que c'est plus vraiment l'Empire. C'est sa propre armée, c'est sa propre gang. Mais vous allez voir que les vaisseaux, quand même, puis tout ça, ça ressemble pas mal à l'Empire. OK. Next picture. This is actually one of the prototypes that was created for the next toy line. And I've got the number somewhere. I'm going to show you more pictures of it. But he's kind of a tank. It's called, let me have look at my notes here. It's actually a scout retrieval vehicle tank. So this thing would go around and pick up damaged ship, damaged X-Wing, damaged snowspeeder, damaged vehicles that could be used again from the rebellion or for the Empire or whatever. But as you guys can see, it's actually a rebellion ship or whatever. This product was actually presented in the past during Return of the Jedi, but it was refused. So they kind of tried to create a new mini rig or a new ship. But Lucasfilm said in 1983, no, this one we don't want. It's not in the movies. Sorry, don't make any of these. So when they ended up creating their new 1986 stuff, they went back to their sheets and they found that one and said, oh yeah, we're gonna bring this one in our universe. On my list to build as well. Yes, sir. There's so much great pictures and there's so much great stuff in there. Uh, and some are pretty easy, I think, to create. Anyway, okay, so let's continue. So this vehicle actually has a number. I'm going to show it to you guys in the other pictures. Okay, so those, I was talking about the mini rigs, so that's the first time Kenner actually created their own kind of expanded universe. The cool thing about this is that some of the mini rigs actually ended up in movies. In Solo, there's one that when there's the train iced or whatever, the ship that actually flew next to the train is one of the mini rigs. So they actually ended up using the creation of the Kenner team. Okay, so this is the mini rigs that everyone knows. That was not part of the 1986 project. It's just to show you guys. This is a brand new character that they created. That would have been Blue 4. And Blue 4 would have been the droid helping our new villain, Atta Prime. So this guy would have been inside his ship, kind of the co-pilot kind of thing. Donc, ce personnage s'appelle Bleu 4. Il aurait été le bras droit, le droïde qui aide notre nouveau villain Atta Prime à bord de son nouveau vaisseau, qu'on va voir en plus plus tard. I love the concept of this thing. It's very simple. It reminds me of one of the figures that they actually they produced for the special edition in A New Hope on Tatooine. Anyway, I don't have a picture to just came up in my mind. Okay, I love this one. You probably saw this in the past. Let me get back. Okay, so I love this one. This is actually the escape pod that was created for you to buy and add to your Millennium Falcon. Donc, ce petit gugus, c'était l'attache supplémentaire pour rajouter au Faucon Millennium. Donc, c'est un projet que j'imagine que ça devait leur trotter dans la tête. Mais Kenner était déjà prêt. This is the best one. Definitely going to make this. Yeah, man, you're going to freak out on a few of the next ones. They're really good. They're really good. I mean, it's the same team that created all the toys that we loved. So you can actually really feel the essence of the Kenner team in everything that they kind of tried to create in 1986. Donc, c'était l'escape pod qu'on pouvait ajouter sur le Faucon Millennium. Et j'ai d'autres photos. Oh, so the pictures are not in order, so I'm sorry. Les photos sont pas toutes en ordre. We're going to jump from one subject to another, but hey, that's okay. It's my show. I do what I want. Right, Kirk? Okay, so those are actually the character development for Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. Those would have been the new Star Wars Han Solo and Luke character from Kenner. It's actually based, the Han Solo is based on the fact that he's now a general or a really high rank in the rebellion military stuff. And you can actually see that he wears some medals and stuff and kind of the shoulder pads from generals or whatever. Donc, ces deux personnages-là supplémentaires, c'est Luke et Han. Et on voit que la création du personnage de Han est plus basée sur un général de guerre qui a comme avec des médailles dans son cou, qui est comme ouais, lui il est très haut placé là, dans la rébellion. On the right, this is Luke, and he would actually be wearing a kind of a Jedi in training armor to protect him. What I love about this is that Luke actually has a kind of purple lightsaber. You can actually see glamour shots on. Yeah, I love this. Um, you can actually see that the legs and the figures are they really look like our vintage Kenner figures. They all look like they're not articulated. Donc, on voit vraiment que c'est le même format qu'ils voulaient faire avec les personnages qu'on a connus, nous autres, à l'époque. Next picture. Okay, so this is a better picture of Atha Prime. This is a new one in the middle. This guy would have been, well, if you guys, I'm sure that Thomas Fagan actually sees what they did there. They actually created a new species for the planet Tatooine because, of course, everything happens on Tatooine. So that would have been a new species on Tatooine. This is actually a squid head turned upside down, and they stick new little eyes into this guy. They actually took a body of, I think it's Forlum, and the arms are actually from Hammerhead. So, donc c'est ça. C'est un nouveau personnage il aurait été une nouvelle species, comment on dit ça en français? Une nouvelle espèce qui habite sur Tatooine, parce qu'on sait que tout dans Star Wars se passe sur Tatooine. Et c'est un personnage qu'ils ont créé en utilisant plusieurs morceaux des autres figurines. Et on voit que c'est la tête d'un Squidhead qui est reviré à l'envers. Puis on voit même où c'est que le trou, où est-ce que le peg rentre dans la tête de l'autre personnage. Ils ont comme complètement changé ça. Et encore une fois, je pense que j'ai d'autres photos. So let's continue. We got more pictures to go through. Okay, this is pretty cool. This would have been Atha Prime ship. It would have been called the Annihilator. Annihilator in the French. Donc ça aurait été le vaisseau de Martha Prime. It would have been the ship of Atha Prime. And as you guys can see, it's actually kind of a double-deck Imperial, not Stormtrooper, but what's the name of that ship? I got a blank there. Star Destroyer. There you go. It's a kind of a two-story Star Destroyer. And it would have been this concept for the ship from Atha Prime. Of course, this is only the idea for the ship. There's no prototype for the toy. We don't really know if that would have been a playset or something, because that's the only thing that we've got from this Annihilator concept. But we totally know that would have been the Atha Prime starship. OK. Donc, ce serait le vaisseau de Atha Prime. On voit que c'est comme deux Star Destroyers empilés un sur l'autre. Et il n'y a pas eu de prototype qui a été fait en jouet. On ne sait pas vraiment si ça a été un playset ou bien ça a été un véhicule. Mais pour faire entrer des figurines de 375 là-dedans, le vaisseau aurait été énorme. To fit some 375 figures in there, the ship would have been like huge. So I don't think it was necessarily a project to create that huge ship. Maybe, like I said, a playset. Next picture. Okay, from this would have been better for a ship to produce as a toy. This is actually a mini ship that would come out of the first Annihilator. So it would have been like a mini ship that would detach from the whole big thing. And it's the personal ship of Atha Prime when he has to move around. So probably this ship would have been produced as a Kenner Star Wars ship. But again, this is only something on paper. There's no prototype of this ship available in all this thing. Next up, more ships. All right, so you're going to say, yeah, I know that ship. That's Poe Dameron's ship from the last Star Wars disaster movie. But this is actually something that they created. They actually did a tandem X-Wing, and it's black, just like the Poe Dameron's version. I love the fact that this is literally a prototype. They really worked on this. They really strapped and put some stickers from the original X-Wing, and I don't know how they created the two people X-Wing, but we never saw a tandem X-Wing ship. We saw the snow speeder where you can actually have two-person because you need someone in the back. But this is not something that we saw in the movies. So I love this concept. And of course, there's R2 in there. And it really looks like Poe Dameron's ship. So I'm wondering, is training X-Wing in the process for making this one? Oh, training X-Wing. Wow, see? You're learning me stuff, man. Like I said, the information that I've got on my little paper is from the video that I've watched, and I've watched this like 3 times, and I wanted to make sure that I got the best information as possible. But of course, it's not because you find something on the web that it's 100% sure or true, but I'm giving you the information because it really looks like this is real, man. Donc, c'est la première fois que je voyais un X-Wing comme ça, double, un tandem X-Wing. Et je trouve ça intéressant parce que ça ressemble énormément au vaisseau de Poe Dameron qui est sorti dans les désastreux films que Disney a produits. Et j'aimais beaucoup le concept. Puis, ce que j'aime, c'est de voir le travail qui a été fait par l'équipe de Kenner pour essayer de rendre ça intéressant. Puis genre, oh, lui, il est cool, je veux rajouter un personnage dans mon bonhomme. Dans mon vaisseau. Next up, this is a closer picture of the Luke prototype drawing. Well, there's no figure, there's no prototype. It's more like a drawing. This is the guy that I was talking about earlier, and as I was saying, it's actually based on a squid head that is upside down and backward, and they kind of put those little 2 eyes right there. I don't know if you can see my thing there, but Thomas Fagan, you have to get one of these. Thomas, you must get one of these. So yeah, that would have been the new species that would have been created on Tatooine. Okay, let's move on. Here is more information on our guy, Prime, Atha Prime. Let me see if I can't read this thing. Okay, let's read this. I'm going to try. A powerful force long kept in the exile. Sounds like Thrawn. Remote. I can't read. Let me go and check the closer I can get. Let me know if the sound's still okay. Remote fringe of the galaxy has been released by the death of the Emperor. It moves now like a plague, securing control over the shattered remnant of the Empire and re-enslaving newly freed world. Atha Prime, genetic master, ruler of the Dark Worlds, and architect of the Clone Wars. Wow, that's great, man. You would have been an architect of the Clone Wars. Is free again. His advanced army of combat clones has already decimated rebel outposts along the galaxy frontier. His goal is to crush forever the rebel alliance and control the galaxy. Wow. Now, this is pretty cool. Yeah, he sounds like an Autobot. Autobots transform. My name is Arthur Prime. Clone Wars transform. Yeah, so I love those kinds of details. They really took the time to create a background on this guy. And they actually did a great job because they linked him to the Clone Wars. What an amazing idea. All right, let's move on. Guess what? Looks familiar? Yep. Can you believe it? Actually, they reused his idea to create this Imperial Sentinel from the 1986. Cool story concept. It is. So they actually took the idea that was produced for the 1986 toy line in 1997 when Power of the Jedi and stuff and Expanded Universe started to come out. And as you guys can see, this is literally the same character, but they did not give him the story concept that we just saw. Let me zoom in. So it says that it's an Imperial Sentinel from Dark Empire Comics. So I presume that someone ended up with the concept in his hand and said, we're going to have to use this guy. But they did not make him a villain, really important villain, more of kind of an Imperial B-side guy. I don't know. I haven't read the Dark Empire comics. I would have to check it out. But there's actually a figure of this guy that was produced in 1997. But he's there. He exists. That's amazing. Okay. And guess what? Here's the amazing twist. By the way, this is not a Kenner figure that was created by the Kenner team. This is just a stock photo. The reason why I'm showing you guys this, it's because in this whole expanded universe story, believe it or not, Thrawn would have survived the first Death Star blast. How? He would have just made it before explode, but doesn't make any sense because we see his face and then we see the Death Star explode. But anyway, they would have created a storyline that Thrawn would have survived the first blast and he would actually be in this whole storyline. Donc, croyez-moi, croyez-moi pas, dans toute cette histoire-là, ils auraient fait revenir Thrawn en disant qu'il avait survécu la première explosion. Fait que là, pensez à ça. Thrawn revient après plusieurs années que tout le monde pense qu'il est mort. Et là, tout d'un coup, il est là. Puis lui, il veut reprendre la main de l'Empire. Puis l'autre, il arrive. Fait que là, on a comme un triangle amoureux. Puis là, on aime ça, nous autres, les triangles amoureux. He used a transporter to beam out. Yeah, one of the ships. And we're not done because there's more ships. I mean, the best is yet to come. This is not, again, a toy. It's just an example. They wanted to create this new droid, that new black droid that would have been important in the storyline. It was just to have you to be able to see a better, clear picture. But that was one of the concept, one of the prototype that they did for the new Star Wars figure in that toy line. So a black droid, he actually looks like R4, not R4, R5D4, but with a R2 body, but all black. So yeah, that would have been an important figure. That I'm not sure that this guy actually has a name. But anyway, those are great. Here's more prototypes. And I just love those prototypes because we can all recognize pieces of some of the characters that they use to create these. Uh, Let me check on my notes. Apex Avenger, personal ship. Tarkin survived. The Imperial. Okay, those would have been called Imperial attack droids. So those would actually be like new baddies, not stormtroopers, but like robot killers. And I love the concept of these. You guys can actually recognize what they use for these creation. There's a gun there from is it? I think it's prune face gun. There's like little. There's actually the microphone in the face from 21B. On the next one, you've got 21B legs. On and whatever is up on his head, the gold part, and the other droids, it looks like comes from droid factory pieces or something. But anyway, those were the projects for the Imperial attack droids. So more prototypes. Here's a better picture of what I've showed you earlier. This is the piece that would have been attached to the front of the Falcon. So I thought you were going to release a series of Star Wars figure. Each one came with a different droid. Oh, yeah. Maybe, man. That's totally possible. I really don't know. Man, you're probably right. But those droids looks amazing. I mean, I love the bashing of all the pieces that they put up together and trying to do something interesting. And I think they do. They manage to do great stuff. So yeah, so they would not have sailed the Falcon again. You would only have to purchase that escape pod, and you would put it in front of your starship. I think I remember seeing something. They made the prototypes. Yeah, I just found all that information out this week, so I was like freaking out. But I'm pretty sure I don't have all the information on what was the plan from Kenner. I would love to talk to someone that worked there, and I know that our friends Michael Evans have some great contacts with them, and many of them go to the ICCC every year. But I would love to ask questions to some of the guys from Kenner and say, did you work on this? What was the real project? What happened? What was the storyline on all of this? What was the main information? Okay, let's see more pictures. Here's a close-up of what that ship or what that thing on the Falcon would have. Me too. So many missed opportunities. You're totally right. Well, I don't know if it was. I totally understand why it was not produced, because since the coin Power of the Force line, the last 17, didn't work as well, and they lost money, and probably to build all these ships, because we're not done. There's big ships coming up, and I'm gonna go a little faster because time's flying. Here's another concept. This is the XP-36 Land Speeder. And as you can see, it's actually based on Luke's Who Wants Coin. Yeah, good. That's a good question. Well, collectors today. So this is based on Luke's Land Speeder, but they kind of pimp it up. So that was the XP-36, and that's the prototype, and there's actually the XP-38, but it was only produced as a picture. I'm gonna read what's on this because I haven't read it yet. Luke's personal speeder is the latest state-of-the-art variant with upgraded ion thrusters, improved defense capabilities, and auto-droids navigation control. This vehicle was mentioned by name in Star Wars XP-38. And I think that's the ship that replaced Luke's land speeder. Love, love this one. I don't like the color, but I love the modification that they did on this one. So that's the new snow speeder. And there's actually Luke in there. So I presume it would be a rebel ship. But as you guys can see, there's a lot of modification, a lot of little things that they added. More iron cannons or stuff. I don't know if that's a turret on the top, but anyway, they really pimped again the snow speeder. And it would have been interesting to see the snow speeder somewhere else. Desert speeder. Yes, that's what I read. You're totally right. It would have been called the desert speeder. You're totally right. That I remember. So I love this, all the details that they put in there. Personally, as a kid, I would have loved to have that ship. Donc ça, c'est le Desert Speeder. On vient d'apprendre quelque chose. Je me souvenais plus, je l'avais lu même, je l'avais entendu. Mais j'adore les modifications qu'ils ont faites là-dessus. Ça donne vraiment ça donne le goût d'avoir ce vaisseau-là. Je sais pas si c'est une tourette qu'ils ont rajouté sur le dessus, whatever, mais je trouve ça vraiment intéressant. So here are more pictures of that tank there I've talked about earlier, the Scout Retrieval Vehicle. So as you guys can see, that kind of tank retrieval thing would actually go and grab some damaged vehicles and bring them back to the base. That's a good one. That's a good picture. And what I love about this, as I said in the beginning, it was actually produced. These were not created for the 1986. It was actually created for Return of the Jedi. But Lucasfilm said, no, thank you. Never seen this in the movie. We'll pass. But they wanted to bring him back. It's a fun toy because you can actually imagine kids creating their own story after your ship actually crashed, and you bring back that tank and retrieve your friends and save the ship and bring it back to base and work on it. J'adore ce concept-là. Moi, j'aurais trippé. On voit vraiment que c'est pensé pour les enfants qui s'imaginent une situation où est-ce qu'ils jouent avec leur vaisseau. Le vaisseau s'écrase. Là, ils ont tout de suite leur emergency. It's kind of a... C'est comme une ambulance, kind of an ambulance for ships. Tu reviens, tu ramasses, tu peux créer un monde incroyable, puis là, tu as de la misère à te rendre, puis c'est dans un terrain qui est difficile à circuler, fait que t'as des... C'est comme un tank. Kind of like the Buck Rogers Land Rover. That, I don't know, my friend. I would have to check that out because I didn't have the chance to play with this. But I love this concept. Really a great idea. Here's another, well, that's actually the first picture that they did. It's the SRV-1. That's the name of that thing. So it would have been the SRV-1. Next up, love this puppy. Okay. So I really, really, really love this one, and you can actually see what they did here. They really only used a at walker, and they stripped down the back, and they added the ion cannon from the Death Star playset on top. But can you imagine having a at walker that is already terrifying, but they actually include the ion cannon from the Death Star on it? As a kid, I would have freaked out. I want that at. Forget about the first one. I want this one. Let me read what's on the thing. It's an Imperial ATIC, all-terrain ion cannon. Heavily armed AT-AT used exclusively for mobile defense of strategic Imperial locations. So I just love this concept. It's simple, but it's cool. And we were talking about creating these. Ian, jump on this one. I mean, you only ask Kirk to send you a beater at if you need one, and strip the back and just put up that ion cannon from one of the Death Star playset. And there you go, man. You've got an ATIC. ATIC, Imperial Commissary. Love it. So that's one of my, not favorite, yeah, it's one of the coolest one, I would say. It's like, okay, you've loved the AT-AT, watch out. Here's something even cooler for you. Also love this thing. They would have, okay, I'll make two. One for me and one for you. Man, I would take one any day. I'll pay for shipping. Okay. They would have created a new playset. So I was wondering if they would create a playset with the Atta Prime ships. But no, they would have created this Imperial outpost. And it actually looks like a mix of the Death Star turrets mixed with the Endor dish and also the Endor spot where Luke and Darth Vader meet en Endor. Donc, ils étaient supposés faire un playset qui s'appelle Imperial Outpost, qu'on peut voir que c'est un mélange des parties du Death Star avec les Ion Cannon, avec aussi le dish qu'on voit sur le Endor, et aussi ce qu'on voit où est-ce que Luke et Darth Vader se rencontrent sur Endor. Ça aurait été un playset enorme. It would have been huge, a huge playset. Kind of the playset with the G.I. Joes, the ship, that huge ship that they did. It would have been probably the biggest playset that Kenner would have ever created for the Star Wars toy line. Okay, let's move on. This is actually something that they finally did. It's the T-16 Skyhopper, Luke's ship. That's just the design, but later on in 1997, they ended up creating that famous T-16 Skyhopper. Could use an old guns of Navarone set to make this. I don't know. I don't know the Navarone set. Man, there's so many stuff I don't know. I'm learning stuff every day, and that's the beauty of it. Donc ça, c'est le concept qu'ils ont fait pour le Skyhopper de Luke, qu'on voit justement Luke jouer avec dans A New Hope, puis on a vu aussi dans la série Kenobi. Donc c'est le Skyhopper. They would have bring the Skyhopper in that toy line. Here is also, they had to put some creatures, so they would have created the Banta. Of course, actually, they kind of would have used the same structure or structural or same parts that they use for the, what's the name? I've got you know what I mean? The lizard kind of guy. Man, I've got a blank. My brain. Dewback. Thank you very much. They would have probably used the dewbacks and just changed the head, and they would have the Banta. But since the new species was on Tatooine, that would have been a great reason to bring the Banta, and it was never created in the past. Donc, ils auraient créé le banta parce que, comme je vous ai expliqué, la nouvelle species, la nouvelle race, espèce était encore basée sur Tatooine et ils n'ont jamais créé le banta. Ils auraient utilisé des pièces du dewback, probablement juste en les modifiant un petit peu pour créer le banta. Again, I would have purchased that. All right, here's one of my favorite, the pièce de résistance. La pièce de résistance. C'est en français et en anglais, it's the same thing. They never created Tantive 4 for before in the toy line. Well, this was actually this prototype actually dates back to Return of the Jedi in 1983. So they asked for Lucas if they wanted one of these, and Lucas said no, we don't want any Tantive 4 because actually Tantive 4 is not in Return of the Jedi. So they said no. But this prototype was produced, and they decided that they would have used this ship in this new expanded universe. So that would have been the first time that we would have the Tantive 4 as a ship in 1996. And you can actually see Rebel Blockade Runner. And as you can see, there's actually the Return of the Jedi logo on down there, and that's the reason why it was presented. Yes, this should have been made in the original release. You're totally right. And what I love about this concept is that there's actually, as you guys can recognize, there's the escape pod that you could have fit figures in there. So you would probably like screw the escape pod underneath and pew, throw it away or whatever. I love the idea that we almost got the Rebel Blockade Runner Tantive 4. Here's another picture of it. I'm going to read what's Rebel vehicle from Star Wars and Return of the Jedi, opening cockpit, manually operated front laser cannon, escape pod, jettison and accommodated for R2-D2 and C-3PO, removable radar dish, also accommodable for one action figures, battery operated rear cannons and engine lights. Wow, engine lights. 4 per case, 4 years old and older. See, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing, man. The Land of the Jawa escape pod. Exactly. It's the same thing. So they probably would have taken that and said, let's screw this underneath, and there you go. You can use this escape pod and do exactly like in the movies. And you know what, guys? That's it. We made it. We made it. Okay, let's remove this. Hey, I'm back. So that's it. That was I made it. 8:25. I'm good. I got 5 minutes left. So guys, thank you very much again for joining me this week on this 67th episode. I'm surprised that we didn't have more viewers this week because I think it's a really cool subject, and it's actually something that people that love to collect Star Wars toys, like me, vintage toys, most of them, I'm pretty sure they didn't know about this information, and I love when I ended up finding new information like that. Donc, je suis surpris un peu qu'il n'y ait pas eu de monde, mais bon, as usual, it will be available on YouTube. It's always available on Facebook, on Yoda's Workshop. Donc, je suis surpris qu'il n'y ait pas eu plus de monde parce que c'est un sujet, je trouve, qui est super intéressant. On aurait eu, pour finir la toy line de Kenner, toutes ces additions-là, ces jouets supplémentaires dans notre jeunesse. C'est sûr que rendu en 1986, j'avais 12 ans. In 1986, I was 12, so perhaps I would have not necessarily still freak on Star Wars, but perhaps, I don't know, it would have probably been the last toys I would have purchased as a kid. Such a great episode. Thank you very much. All the stuff they didn't make, now up to us to do it. You're totally right, my friend. You're totally right. So, yeah, so that's it. Again, thank you very much for joining me. I'm saying it again. I'll say it. I'm keep on doing this. I love doing this. I love finding these information, the stuff that I don't know. I love to learn. I love to learn. It's probably one of the things that I enjoy the most in life is to learn and learn more stuff. Donc, c'est ça. Ben, je vais continuer, évidemment, les prochains épisodes. We're heading to 70. I mean, I'm freaking out myself. 70 episodes of the Vintage Kids, man. I'm proud of myself. I love doing this. All right. So, again, I haven't sended you guys a new link for the contest for the advent calendar. Don't worry. I'm getting there, and it's gonna be a straight fill up like on the MMC on Shannon's game or on the You Didn't Win That stuff that we all participate every week. Donc bientôt je vais rajouter un lien pour le tirage du calendrier de l'Avent. Ben les deux calendriers de l'Avent. There's actually going to be 2 calendars to win. And you should probably have around 2 weeks to fill up the form. It's not going to be form, just I'm going to say, I want to participate. I'm going to put your name there. So, vous avez juste à rentrer et dire, moi, je veux participer, je vais mettre votre nom, puis vous allez faire partie du tirage. Tant mieux. So that's it. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Merci de m'avoir accompagné. Merci d'écouter, que ce soit en direct ou que ce soit en rediffusion. Que vous puissiez l'écouter chez vous à la vitesse que vous voulez ou quand vous pouvez. Thank you for watching this, even if it's not live. I totally appreciate it. Like I said, I don't do this for the numbers. I'm doing this for fun. So, and I think that's the art. That's the fun of it, and that's what makes it so warm. I don't know how to say it. It makes it more personal. That's how I feel. I'm having the feeling that I have the chance to talk with my friends and sharing my knowledge and the stuff that I learn with you guys. Donc c'est tout. On se revoit la semaine prochaine. See you next week. And as I always say, comme je dis à chaque semaine, be safe, be good, be wild, be you. Have an amazing week. If you have suggestions, if you have ideas, if you have questions, send me a PM. I'll be happy to answer as fast as I can. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.